You come home after a long day, you kick off your shoes, take a deep breath, and feel that sigh of relief. This is your sanctuary, your home, your safe place, the one corner of the world where you should feel untouchable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone who smiles at you deserves to walk through your door. Not everyone who calls themselves a friend should sit at your table. Some people don't come to share your peace, they come to steal it. They arrive with smiles, with stories, sometimes even with love. But hidden beneath, they carry jealousy, gossip, manipulation, or chaos. And here's where it gets tricky, some people say. But isn't it cruel to shut people out? Shouldn't we give everyone a chance? That sounds noble. But let's be real, would you leave your front door unlocked at night just because you believe the world is full of good people? Of course not. Protecting your space isn't cruelty. It's wisdom. It's survival. It's self-respect. So let me ask you, who are you letting into your life right now? Who gets to sit at your table? Are they adding peace or draining it? Because here's what I've seen over and over again in therapy rooms, in coaching sessions, in real life struggles. The quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of the people you allow into your space. That's why today, we're going to talk about 7 types of people you must keep far away from your home, your heart, and your peace. And more importantly, I'll show you the small, daily actions that build an invisible shield around your life so you can finally protect your sanctuary and grow into the person you're meant to be. The gossiper, the thief of trust. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I knew someone who carried a smile that could light up a room. They seemed harmless, even charming. They'd sit across from you, nodding, leaning in, whispering, "I'm only telling you this because I trust you." And in that moment, you'd feel special, almost chosen, like you'd been led into a secret circle. But here's the catch. If they're sharing someone else's secrets with you, what do you think they're doing with yours? That's the danger of gossip. It doesn't just nibble at the edges of trust, it devours it. A gossiper isn't simply passing time with chatter. No, they're gathering ammunition. Every conversation is a potential weapon. Every detail of your life, another story for them to twist, exaggerate, or broadcast when it serves their purpose. And the really toxic part, they make you feel safe while they're doing it. They sit at your table, sip your coffee, maybe even laugh with your kids in the living room, all while mentally filing away your words like bullets in a chamber. You won't see the shot until it's already fired. Now, I know what some people say. Come on. Everyone gossips a little. It's harmless. But let's be real for a second. There's a massive difference between confiding in someone you trust and intentionally spreading someone else's struggles like wildfire. One builds intimacy. The other burns bridges. Gossip isn't harmless chatter. It's betrayal in disguise. Think about it this way. Your reputation, your privacy, your dignity, those things are priceless. And gossip turns them into cheap currency for someone else's entertainment. It reduces your deepest truths into punchlines. And once that wildfire starts, you can't put it back in the box. Words spread. Stories mutate. And suddenly, you're starring in a narrative you never even wrote. But here's what makes it even scarier. Gossip doesn't just hurt the person being talked about. It poisons everyone who listens. You start doubting. You start distrusting. You start absorbing that negativity like secondhand smoke. It changes how you see people, how you interact with them, sometimes even how you see yourself. So let me ask you something, and I really want you to answer this for yourself in the comments. Have you ever let a gossiper too close only to regret it later? Did you ever trust someone with your truth and then feel the sting of betrayal when your private life turned into public entertainment? I'll be honest with you. I have. And it cut deeper than I expected. Because gossip is never just words. It's the theft of trust. And rebuilding trust, that's 10 times harder than breaking it. So what do? Do you cut every talkative person out of your life? No. The key is discernment. Watch how someone speaks about others. Do they delight in exposing people's failures? Do their stories carry more venom than compassion? If they gossip with you, they will gossip about you. That's not cynicism. That's just pattern recognition. And here's a small but powerful action you can take the next time someone brings gossip to your doorstep. Stop the cycle. Change the subject. Or better yet, respond with kindness toward the person being spoken about. Nothing shuts down gossip faster than refusing to feed it. Because at the end of the day, your home, your life is sacred space. It's not a stage for rumors. It's not a storage unit for other people's secrets. It's your fortress. And a fortress must be guarded. So here's my challenge for you this week. Pay attention. Notice who's bringing you stories. And ask yourself, do I feel safer after this conversation? Or do I feel unsettled? That answer will tell you everything you need to know about whether someone deserves a seat at your table. Remember this, not every smile is loyal. And not every voice deserves your ear. The jealous one, the shadow smiler. Have you ever shared good news with someone? A promotion? A new relationship? Maybe even something small, like finally finishing that workout streak, and instead of genuine excitement, you felt something off. They smiled. Sure. Maybe they even said the right words. That's great. I'm so happy for you. But behind their eyes, you saw it. That flicker, that shadow, that's jealousy. And trust me, it's far more dangerous than it looks on the surface. See, a jealous person doesn't walk into your home carrying weapons. They don't throw punches or shout insults. No, their tool of choice is subtle. They cut with tone, with questions like, "Oh, really? How did you manage that?" Or comments like, "Wow, good things always seem to happen for you." On the surface, harmless. But deep down, it's resentment wrapped in politeness. And here's the truth that stings sometimes. The jealous one isn't a stranger. Sometimes it's family, a sibling, a cousin, someone who watched you climb from nothing. And instead of pride, they feel bitterness. They look at your progress and think, why them and not me? That's what makes jealousy so toxic. It's not about what you have. It's about what your success mirrors back to them. Your light makes their shadows obvious. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Instead of being inspired, they feel threatened. Instead of cheering, they start plotting, even if it's just in whispers, doubts, or subtle digs meant to chip away at your confidence. Now, I know some people will say, but can't you just love them harder, encourage them more, show them you're not competing? That sounds noble. But here's the hard truth. Jealousy is not your burden to fix. You can't outlove someone's insecurity. You can't inspire someone who has chosen to stay bitter. Their jealousy is their own battle. And if you let it, they'll drag you right into the mud with them. Think about it. How many times have you watered down your wins just to make someone else comfortable? Maybe you hid your excitement because you didn't want to seem like you were bragging. Maybe you downplayed your blessings because you didn't want to trigger their envy. And in doing so, you shrank yourself. You dimmed your light. But why should your joy be put on trial just because someone else can't handle it? Here's my take. From years of seeing this play out in real people's lives, not everyone clapping for you is really clapping for you. Some are just watching, waiting for the day you stumble so they can finally breathe easier. And if you don't recognize this pattern early, jealousy will sneak into your home like carbon monoxide, silent, invisible, but suffocating. So what's the daily action here? Simple but powerful. Watch reactions, not just words. Pay attention to who leans in when you win. and who looks away, who celebrates you publicly and privately, and who only does it when people are watching. Here's a small challenge this week. Share a piece of good news and notice the responses. Not the surface words, but the energy. Did their joy lift you higher? Or did their presence make you feel smaller? And let me tell you, you don't need to announce your wins to people who secretly hope you'll lose. Protect your space. Surround yourself with those who clap with both hands, not those who clap with one and hold a knife in the other. Because jealousy is a poison, and if you drink from it long enough, you'll start doubting your own worth. But if you guard your circle, if you choose to share your victories with people who truly celebrate you, you'll feel lighter, freer, and unstoppable. At the end of the day, your success doesn't need universal approval. It just needs your own permission. The chaos bringer drama as oxygen. You know that one person who always seems to carry a storm with them. The moment they walk into the room, the atmosphere shifts. Conversations that were calm suddenly twist into arguments. Peace turns into tension. You can almost feel the weight of their presence pressing down on everyone around them. That, my friend, is the chaos bringer. These people don't need peace. They can't even function in it. For them, drama is oxygen. Conflict is fuel. If things are too calm, too steady, too balanced, they'll stir the pot just to feel alive. And if you're not careful, they'll turn your home, your sanctuary, into a battleground. Let me paint you a picture. Maybe you had a family dinner. The mood was light, the laughter flowing. Then one person spoke up, bringing up old wounds, questioning someone's choices, hinting at drama that no one asked for. Within minutes, voices rise, hearts pound, and suddenly, the night ends in bitterness. Sound familiar? That's the chaos bringer's specialty. They can't let harmony last. Now here's the tricky part. They don't always march in waving a red flag. Sometimes they come disguised as concerned friends. They'll say things like, "I just thought you should know what so-and-so said about you." Or, "I didn't want to cause trouble." But you see the pattern. They plant seeds of division, then step back to watch the fire burn. And when it does, they throw up their hands and play the innocent victim. From a psychological angle, many chaos bringers thrive on control. They feel powerless in their own lives, so they create conflict in yours to feel significant. Stirring trouble gives them a sense of power, because for a moment, everyone's emotions are dancing to their tune. But here's the cost, and it's steep. Every time you let them pull you into their drama, you lose energy. You lose clarity. You lose the quiet strength that allows you to focus on what actually matters. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you start living in reaction instead of intention. So let's pause for a second. Can you think of someone in your circle who fits this? Someone who, when they show up, suddenly everyone's mood drops. Someone who always seems to have a problem, always seems to be at the center of conflict. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. Now, what do you do about it? The answer isn't to fix them, because you can't outlove, outpatient, or outcoach someone who's addicted to chaos. The only solution is boundaries. Strong, unapologetic boundaries. And here's a small but powerful step you can start with. Limit their airtime. If they call and the conversation turns into drama, cut it short. Politely excuse yourself. If they show up in your life stirring division, change the subject or walk away. Remember, disengaging isn't weakness, it's wisdom. I'll give you a personal reflection. Years ago, I spent too much time trying to reason with a chaos bringer. I thought if I just explained calmly, if I just showed them a better way, maybe they'd stop. But the truth is, peace feels like boredom to them. And boredom feels unbearable, the moment things got calm, they created a storm. It took me years to realize it wasn't about me. It was about them, and the best gift I could give myself was distance. So here's your challenge. Pay attention this week. Notice who brings drama every time they appear. Then ask yourself, do I want to keep giving this person free rent in my life? Because at the end of the day, your peace is too precious to keep sacrificing for someone else's chaos. Remember, you can't stop a storm from forming, but you can decide whether or not you step into the rain. The manipulator, master of guilt. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained, guilty, or second-guessing yourself? Even though you didn't do anything wrong, that's the signature move of the manipulator. They don't just take from you, they twist you. They bend your reality until you're not even sure where you stand anymore. See, manipulators are clever. They rarely come in swinging. Instead, they show up with kindness, generosity, even charm. They shower you with compliments. They say things like, I'd do the same for you. They build a sense of trust. So when they start asking for more, you feel obligated. And before you know it, you're caught in their web. Here's the psychology behind it. Manipulation thrives on guilt. It feeds on your empathy. The manipulator knows you're compassionate, so they weaponize it. They'll tell you sad stories, exaggerate their struggles, or remind you of that one tiny favor they once did for you years ago. Suddenly, saying no makes you feel like a bad person, and that's exactly where they want you. Let me give you a real-life example. I once worked with a client who had a so-called friend like this. Anytime she tried to set boundaries, like saying she couldn't help that week, the friend would sigh dramatically and say things like, "Wow, I thought you were different after everything I've done for you." And guess what? She gave in over and over. Not because she wanted to, but because she hated the crushing guilt that followed. Sound familiar? That's the manipulator's genius. They never directly force you. They make you do the work yourself. They twist the knife of obligation just deep enough that you convince yourself you owe them. And here's the kicker. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. You sacrifice your time, your energy, your money, and still, they want more. Why? Because it's not about the actual favor. It's about control. Manipulators thrive when they know they can pull your strings whenever they want. But let me be blunt here. Love isn't manipulation. Friendship isn't guilt-tripping. Respect isn't one-sided. If someone only values you for what you can give, they don't value you. They value the benefits of having you around. And that's not connection, that's exploitation. So what can you do? Starts with one powerful word, no. Say it kindly. Say it firmly. But say it without excuses. Because every time you apologize for protecting your peace, you hand them the keys to your fortress. Here's a small but life-changing action you can take the next time you feel guilt bubbling up after saying no. Pause it. Ask yourself, am I actually doing something wrong? Or am I just disappointing someone who benefits from me not having boundaries? That question alone can set you free. And here's the truth. From my own experience, manipulators don't change because you give more. They change, if at all, when you stop playing the game, when you refuse to bend, when you step back and say, I'm not responsible for carrying your world on my shoulders. It won't be easy at first. They'll push harder, guilt trip louder, maybe even play the victim. But if you hold firm, something amazing happens. You reclaim your power. You stop being the puppet, and you start being the director of your own life again. So let me leave you with this. Thought manipulators can only thrive where guilt grows. If you stop watering that guilt, they lose their grip. And remember, you don't owe anyone unlimited access to your energy. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. The negative soul walking storm cloud. Some people walk into a room and the whole atmosphere feels lighter. They bring laughter, ease, possibility. Being around them is like standing in the sunshine. But then there are the others. The ones who carry a storm cloud over their head. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The moment they show up, the air feels heavier. Smiles fade. Even your body reacts, your shoulders tense. Your energy dips. That's the effect of the negative soul. Now, let's be honest. Everyone has bad days. We all complain sometimes. That's human. But a negative soul isn't just having a rough patch. No. Negativity is their home address. It's the lens they use to see the entire world. They'll tell you life is unfair. People can't be trusted. Dreams are pointless. And the more time you spend with them, the more their darkness seeps into your own outlook. I remember talking with someone who, no matter what topic came up, always spun it into doom. Share a new opportunity. They'd say, that'll never work. Mention a new relationship. Don't get your hopes up. People always disappoint. Even a sunny day. And they'd mutter about how rain is probably on the way. And after every conversation, I'd feel smaller, heavier, like a piece of my own hope had been chipped away. Sound familiar? Here's the psychological truth. Negativity is contagious. Our brains are wired with something called negativity bias, meaning we latch on to negative input faster than positive. That's why spending too much time with a negative soul doesn't just annoy you. It literally rewires how you think. Before you know it, their doubts become your doubts. Their fears become your fears. And that's dangerous. Because negativity isn't just an attitude, it's a cage. It keeps you stuck. And if you let it, their cage becomes yours. But here's the heartbreaking part. Many negative souls don't even want solutions. They don't want advice. They don't want to change. What they want is an audience, someone to absorb their complaints, someone to validate their misery. And if you're empathetic, you become their dumping ground. So let me ask you, how often have you walked away from a conversation with someone like this feeling drained, exhausted, maybe even hopeless? How many times have you started doubting your own path just because they poured their darkness into you? I've seen this happen in so many lives. People with incredible potential, dimming their own light because they've surrounded themselves with storm clouds. And the saddest part, they thought it was loyalty. They thought enduring the negativity was a sign of love. But let me tell you, staying in someone else's storm isn't loyalty. It's self-destruction. So what can you do? You don't need to hate them. You don't even need to confront them harshly. But you do need to protect your peace. Here's a small action you can try after spending time with a negative person. Take 5 minutes to write down one thing you're grateful for. One thing that grounds you in possibility. This tiny ritual acts like an umbrella shielding your mind from their rain. And remember this, you are not responsible for pulling someone out of the darkness if they insist on living there. Compassion doesn't mean carrying their storm into your home. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for them and for you is to step back and let them face their own weather. Your energy is sacred. Don't let a storm cloud follow you inside your sanctuary. The boundary breaker, the uninvited guest. Picture this. You finally sit down after a long day. Maybe you're sipping tea, scrolling a little, or just enjoying the silence. And then, bam, your phone lights up with a call you didn't ask for. Or worse, there's a knock at your door. No warning. No respect for your space, just intrusion. That right there is the signature move of the boundary breaker. These people don't come with weapons, but they still invade. They show up uninvited. They call at midnight. They take without asking, borrow without returning, and somehow make you feel guilty if you dare to say no. It's not just inconsiderate, it's manipulative. Here's the thing. Boundary breakers don't see you as an individual with needs, energy limits, or priorities. To them, you're an open resource. If they want something, they'll take it. If they want your time, they'll claim it. And if you hesitate, they act offended, as though your no is a betrayal. I remember one client telling me about her cousin who would show up at her house and stay late into the night. It didn't matter that she had work the next morning. It didn't matter that she was visibly exhausted. The cousin would say things like, "But family is family, right? You don't mind, do you?" And of course, she felt trapped. Say no, and she's the bad guy. Say yes, and her peace is stolen. Sound familiar? Here's the psychology. Boundary breakers often rely on guilt leverage. They push and push, just enough to see how much you'll tolerate. If you don't stop them at the first line, they push further. At first, it's a small favor. Then, it's bigger demands. And before you realize it, you're living in a pattern where their comfort is always prioritized over your peace. But let's stop and be brutally honest. Every time you allow someone to disrespect your boundaries, you're silently teaching them that your needs don't matter. And over time, that chips away at your self-worth. So what's the way out? First, you need to drop the guilt. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's saying, I matter. My time matters. And my energy matters. And anyone who can't respect that, they're showing you exactly who they are. Here's a practical action step. Start with micro boundaries. Turn off your notifications at night. Politely decline one unnecessary request this week. Don't over-explain. Don't over-apologize it. Just state it simply. And yes, they might push back. They might pout, guilt trip, or act disappointed. But remember, their reaction is not your responsibility. And here's something from my own life. I used to struggle with this a lot. I thought being kind meant being endlessly available. I thought saying no made me selfish. But the more I gave in, the more drained I became. Eventually, I realized real kindness has limits. Because kindness without boundaries is just self-sacrifice. So let me ask you, who in your life consistently ignores your limits? Who makes you feel guilty for needing space? Who acts entitled to your time, your energy, to your home? Be honest with yourself and share your thoughts in the comments if you're brave enough. Because acknowledging it is the first step to change. Remember, your home isn't a bus station. Your life isn't an all-access pass. And your time isn't a free-for-all. If someone can't respect that, they don't deserve a seat at your table. The corrupt heart, the masked enemy. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Not everyone who claps for you wants you to win. Some people hide their true selves so well that you don't realize the danger until it's too late. And that's what makes the corrupt heart the most dangerous of them all. Let me tell you, a corrupt heart doesn't walk in announcing their intentions. No, they come dressed in charm. They speak in soft tones. They look like support, like loyalty, like love. But behind the masked darkness, self-interest, betrayal, waiting for the right moment. Think of it like this. It's easy to guard your home against obvious threats. You can spot the gossiper. You can sense the jealous one. You can feel the chaos bringer. But the corrupt heart, they're masters of disguise. They study you. They learn what you value. They use your kindness as a weapon. They tell you what you want to hear until the day comes when they no longer need the mask. And then, like a snake, they strike. I once worked with someone who lived through this. She had a close friend, the kind you share your dreams with, your struggles with, your deepest fears. For years, she thought this person was her safe space. But when a new opportunity came her way, something life-changing, that friend betrayed her, spread lies, undermined her reputation, took advantage of her vulnerability. And when she asked why, the answer was chilling. Because that's what a corrupt heart does. It doesn't just hurt you by accident. It chooses to. And that's why it's so dangerous. Now, some of you might be thinking, but isn't everyone redeemable? Can't we believe that deep down, everyone has some good? That's a beautiful idea. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone wants to change. Some people don't see their behavior as wrong. Some people thrive on betrayal, deception, and destruction because it benefits them. And if you keep giving second chances, they'll keep proving the same point. They don't care about your peace. The psychology behind this, it's called Machiavellianism, a personality trait where people manipulate, deceive, and exploit others without guilt or empathy. They know exactly what they're doing, and that's what makes them so terrifying. So what do? You don't try to fix them. You don't rationalize with them. You don't keep inviting them back in, hoping maybe this time will be different, because it won't. The only way to protect yourself is to cut them off completely. And yes, it's hard, because often the corrupt heart is someone close, a longtime friend, a trusted partner, someone who's woven into the fabric of your life. Walking away feels impossible. But let me tell you, keeping them in your space is even more costly. It steals your clarity, your trust, your sense of safety. Here's a daily action. You can take practice discernment. Don't just listen to words, watch patterns. Notice how people respond to your wins. Notice whether they uplift you when you're down or secretly enjoy your struggle. Pay attention to how you feel after being with them. Heavy or light, energized or drained, your gut knows. Trust it, because your home, your inner world, isn't a playground for corruption. It's your sanctuary. And if someone has shown you time and again that their heart is rotten, don't keep giving them the chance to poison yours. Better to have fewer chairs filled with loyal hearts than a crowded table filled with snakes. Building your fortress of peace. By now, you've seen the patterns. Gossipers, jealous hearts, manipulators, drama addicts, negative souls, boundary breakers, and the corrupt-hearted, each of them in their own way, chips away at your peace. And if you're not careful, your sanctuary, your home, your mind, your life stops being a refuge and starts feeling like a battlefield. So the question is, how do you protect it? How do you build a fortress around your peace without isolating yourself from the world? Here's the truth. Building a fortress of peace isn't about locking everyone out. It's about learning who deserves a key. Think of it like curating your inner circle. Every person you allow close is like a brick in the walls of your home. Strong, supportive people strengthen those walls. Toxic people weaken them, leaving cracks where stress, doubt, and chaos seep in. So how do you know who deserves to stay? Simple. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel lighter or heavier, inspired or drained, safe or suspicious? Your energy doesn't lie. And those feelings are the blueprint for your fortress. Psychologists talk about emotional contagion, the phenomenon where we unconsciously absorb the moods and emotions of those around us. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, gossip, or manipulation, your brain begins to mirror it. That's why guarding your circle is not just a preference, it's a necessity for mental health. Here's a practice I often recommend, the energy audit. Once a week, take 5 minutes to write down the names of people you've interacted with most. Then, next to each name, jot down a simple note, plus uplifted, drained, or equal neutral. Over time, you'll start to see a pattern, and when you see it, You'll know who belongs inside your fortress and who doesn't. But here's the kicker. Building a fortress of peace isn't only about removing the wrong people. It's also about inviting in the right ones. Surround yourself with those who clap when you win, who sit with you when you lose, who tell you the truth without stabbing you in the back. Those are the bricks that make your walls unshakable. And it's not just about people, it's also about habits. The little daily actions that protect your energy, setting boundaries around your time, practicing gratitude before bed, saying no without apology, creating a morning ritual that fills you before the world drains you. These aren't just routines, they're bricks in your fortress. Let me put it plainly. Peace doesn't happen by accident. It's built one choice at a time. And yes, it takes courage, because sometimes building your fortress means making hard calls, distancing from family members who refuse to respect you, ending friendships that run on drama, saying goodbye to relationships that thrive on manipulation. It hurts, but every brick you lay is an investment in your future self, the version of you who is strong, grounded, and unshakable. Here's the question I want you to reflect on. If your life is your home, who are you letting sit at your table right now? Do they strengthen your walls or weaken them? Because in the end, your fortress isn't built in one grand act. It's built in daily choices, small, consistent acts of protection and self-respect. And when you commit to that, your peace becomes unbreakable. So here we are. We've walked through the 7 kinds of people who can quietly dismantle your peace if you let them in. And now the real question isn't just do you recognize them? The real question is, what are you going to do about it? Because awareness without action changes nothing. Knowing who drains your spirit means little if you keep giving them front row seats in your life. Here's the truth. Transformation doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from small, deliberate steps. Repeat it daily until they reshape the way you live. And that's where your call to action begins. Let's break it down into simple, practical moves you can start this week. First, take inventory. Grab a notebook, or even open your phone's notes app. Write down the names of the people you interact with most. Then next to each name, ask yourself, do they leave me feeling lighter or heavier? Do they support me? Or do they sabotage me? Be brutally honest. Sometimes the hardest names to write a minus sign next to are the ones closest to us. But clarity is power. Second, choose one boundary. To set just one. Maybe it's saying no to a request you don't have energy for. Maybe it's refusing to engage in gossip. Maybe it's turning your phone off at a certain hour so people can't invade your space. Don't overcomplicate it. Start small, because every single boundary you enforce strengthens your peace like another brick in your fortress. Third, practice the pause. The next time someone throws negativity, jealousy, or manipulation your way, don't react immediately. Pause. Breathe. Remind yourself, I am not responsible for carrying their storm. That moment of pause is a superpower. It gives you the space to choose peace instead of chaos. And finally, anchor yourself in gratitude. Every day, list one person who genuinely uplifts you, someone who claps when you win, comforts you when you fall, and respects your boundaries. Then reach out to them. Thank them. Let them know they matter. Why? Because what you focus on grows. The more you celebrate healthy connections, the stronger they become. But here's the hard truth you need to hear. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's survival. It's wisdom. And it's the foundation for becoming the person you're meant to be. So let me ask you right here, right now, who in your life no longer deserves that seat? Who keeps dragging storms into your sanctuary? And what is one step you're willing to take this week to reclaim your peace? Drop your answer in the comments. Share it. Not just for me, but for yourself. Writing it down is a declaration. It's saying, I choose peace. I choose boundaries. I choose me. Because here's the beautiful part. Once you start protecting your peace, your entire life shifts. Your energy rises. Your clarity sharpens. Your relationships deepen. You stop surviving other people's chaos and start thriving in your own light. And trust me, once you taste that kind of freedom, you'll never want to go back. Principle of energy and boundaries. Let's take a step back. Beyond all the labels, the gossipers, the jealous, the manipulators, what's really happening here? At the core, it all comes down to one thing: energy. Every person you allow into your space brings energy with them. Sometimes it's uplifting joy, encouragement, to calm. Other times it's heavy negativity, chaos, manipulation. And here's the kicker. You don't just witness that energy, you absorb it. Psychology calls this emotional contagion, the invisible transfer of moods and mindsets from one person to another. Think about it. Have you ever spent an afternoon with someone who was bitter or angry and later found yourself feeling irritated for no reason? Or on the flip side, have you noticed how one encouraging conversation can leave you energized for hours? That's emotional contagion at work. The people around you don't just affect your day. They shape your entire outlook. That's why boundaries are non-negotiable. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're filters that decide what gets in. They're the invisible fences that protect your peace, your focus, your mental health. Without them, you're vulnerable to every storm that blows your way. With them, you become steady, grounded, resilient. Let me share a quick story. A client once told me, I don't like setting boundaries because I don't want people to think I'm selfish. And I asked her, if you had a garden, would you let anyone trample through it just because you didn't want to seem rude? Or would you put up a fence to protect what you've worked so hard to grow? She laughed. But then it clicked. Her life was her garden. Her boundaries were her fence. And every time she said yes when she wanted to say no, she was letting weeds take over her soil. So here's the principle. Guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Your peace, your focus, your joy, your growth, all of it flows from the energy you allow in. Now, let's get practical. How do you live this out daily? Morning check-in. Before the day starts, set an intention. What kind of energy will I allow in today? What kind will I refuse? Midday pause. Notice how you feel after interactions. Did you walk away lighter or heavier, inspired or drained? That feeling is feedback. Don't ignore it. Evening reflection. Write down one moment you protected your boundary. Celebrate it. Because consistency is what builds strength. And here's the part I want from you. Yes. You, listening right now. Drop your perspective in the comments. Do you believe boundaries are selfish? Or do you see them as an act of self-respect? I want to hear your truth, because conversations like this matter. They remind us that protecting our peace is not weakness. It's wisdom. Remember, boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about keeping your energy safe. So you have the strength to let the right people in, the ones who build you up, not tear you down. At the end of the day, your energy is your currency. Spend it wisely. Protect it fiercely. Because when you honor your boundaries, you don't just guard your peace, you unlock your power. So here we are. We've pulled back the curtain on the 7 types of people who can steal your peace if you let them in: the gossiper, the jealous, the manipulator, the chaos bringer, the negative soul, the boundary breaker, and the corrupt heart. And we've uncovered the truth. Your home, your mind, for your life. These are sacred spaces. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. But let's be clear, this isn't just about them. This is about you, your power, your choices, your ability to protect what you've built. Because peace doesn't arrive by accident. It's created brick by brick, boundary by boundary, decision by decision. So I want to leave you with this thought from this day forward. You get to decide who walks through your door. You get to decide who has access to your heart, your time, your energy. You are the gatekeeper of your sanctuary. And I'd love to hear from you. Which part of this resonated the most with you? Have you ever had to distance yourself from one of these types of people? How did it change your life? Drop your thoughts, your stories, your feelings in the comments below, because your voice matters. And chances are someone else watching this needs to hear your experience too. And hey, if this video spoke to you, if it gave you clarity or courage, but do me a favor, hit that like button so more people can find it. And if you want more content like this, practical psychology mixed with real-life empowerment, make sure you subscribe and join this community. We're building something here, a circle of people who choose peace, who choose growth, who choose themselves. Remember this, your peace is priceless. Your boundaries are powerful. And your life is too important to let the wrong people write your story. Protect it, guard it, live it. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and as always, protect your peace.